Good morning. It's Saturday, December 4th, and today I'm going to talk to you about something that not many people know about. And you can't reveal my sources, and I can't reveal my sources. But there's something very interesting that went on in this country, and it has to deal with Mark Meadows. So what I'm about to tell you is very secret information. Mark Meadows has said that he had spent many weeks trying to enlist government officials to pursue the false election conspiracy theories. And his theories were off the wall. So I'm here to tell you the truth about what happened. But just as a reminder, Meadows was really trying to get these government officials to agree that there were foreign election interference in our 2020 election. And that's far from the truth. And you know, if you remember, that was Rudy Giuliani and Mike Flynn and Sidney Powell were running around with all these conspiratorial materials themselves, including YouTube video and other information that alleged widespread evidence of voter fraud. And Meadows was running around trying to convince government officials that China had used a thermostat to change the results in voting machines. Now that's crazy. That's absolutely crazy to think that China would do something like that and use a thermostat. Who ever heard of using a thermostat or anything like that? You know, I only have one friend that might possibly believe that. So in any event, Flynn and Powell were pushing these things, and Meadows was working in the background trying to convince everybody that there was this gigantic voter fraud going on. And I want to tell you the truth, you know. I want to tell you the truth. It wasn't Italy that was using satellites that changed the votes. You know, you had satellites changing the votes. You got thermostats changing the votes. It wasn't any of those people that changed anything. I don't believe that there was any foreign interference in this election at all. But I know where the interference came from. I know who did it. And there was voter fraud. There was a lot of it. And what I'm about to reveal to you is top secret, because I got this from the bowels of the earth. So I want you to pay close attention, and I want to swear you to secrecy, because this is not to get out. This could be detrimental to this country if the information that I am about to present to you gets out into the public domain, right? You know, even though Meadows went to all these agencies and tried to convince them, he didn't have the might to do it. But there is a group that was able to perform the fraud, so to speak. And I'm not sure I would consider it fraud. I would consider it an uprising of people who knew from years and years of experience that this country was in deep shit, and they had to do something about it. So, what I'm about to tell you now, you must not whisper to anybody. You must not spread this rumor around. This is the truth. It's really not a rumor. So you mustn't spread this information around, because that could be detrimental to this country. I don't know how the public will react to the information that I am about to give you, right? You know, there were no papers released on this. They never proved fraud. But the people who did this fraud are the cleverest people around. And I am talking about the dead. Many dead people voted in this election. Many more dead people voted in this election than in any previous election. They recognized from their years of experience, from their years of lying quietly in their graves, that they knew that this country needed a change desperately. And the dead are much smarter than those who are alive. Do not sell them short just because they're lying still beneath the earth. They know what's going on. So they gathered their forces together and they created this election fraud. And the dead are much more qualified to vote in elections than those of us who are alive, because they've seen much more. They've been around for a long time. In fact, some of these dead were around to watch Washington and Jefferson and Lincoln and Truman, watch them perform. So they had a basis for what they knew they wanted. So I say to you that the dead were much more qualified to vote. And if it was up to me, maybe we wouldn't have the live voting at all. We would turn this responsibility completely over to the dead, because they're much more qualified. They've seen much more. They have the answer to many of the problems that we are facing. And that's the truth, that's the truth. I don't want you telling people this, because most people will think you're crazy, that you're off the wall. But I know for a fact that Mark Meadows is one. His stories are all cockeyed, but the truth is that the dead did it. And we need their experience. This is a country that desperately needs the experience of the dead. If you want to have MAGA, Make America Great Again, you have to go and get your hands on information that can be provided by the dead, because they've seen everything, right? So I say that for my money, the dead should continue to get absentee ballots. And they should continue to use them for the good of this country. And if you don't believe me, then you need to have your head examined. And I happen to have a good psychiatrist that can help you all. But don't be afraid. The dead are not out to harm us. They just want to use their experience to make this country great again. So that's my story. And I swear you to secrecy. I swear you to secrecy. Don't believe anything about the thermostats and the satellites in Italy and China. Just remember, the people in Woodlawn Cemetery are watching. The people in Boot Hill are watching. So I leave you with that today. Have a wonderful day. Bye.